In this video, we discuss a scam that took $740,000 from a retired Virginia attorney. And the scary part, the smarter you are, the better it works. Coming up next on Holy Schmidt.
Holy Schmidt!
There was a scam reported in the New York Times and many other newspapers about a Virginia lawyer who lost $740,000 to a scam. Now, he didn't lose it to a Nigerian prince. He didn't lose it at gunpoint. He didn't lose it on a dating app. In fact, the way he lost it, many people would fall for the same scam. The gentleman's name is Barry, and he thought he was helping the FBI catch a scammer. And for 3 months, he did exactly what they told him to do. He went to his bank. He rolled over his IRA. He bought $400,000 worth of gold and delivered it to a complete stranger. By the time it was over, $740,000 was gone, and to add insult to injury, the IRS sent him a bill for another $285,000 because he never paid taxes on the money that he took out of his IRA. Now, this man wasn't just an ordinary attorney. He was a claims attorney for a major insurance company. He handled issues like fraud all of the time. Yet he was defrauded out of his entire life savings. He was sharp, educated, and experienced, but none of that mattered because this scam isn't designed to fool someone who's naive. It's designed specifically to fool someone who's smart. Barry lived in Arlington, Virginia, and he spent his entire adult life building his 401k, his IRA, even his bank balances, and he had a financial advisor that he'd known for over 20 years. Now, this scam started the way that many scams do. Barry went on to his financial institution's webpage and tried to access his financial information, but it didn't work. He tried again a few days later and he got in, but a pop-up popped up with his company's logo and a message. That message, call us immediately. Now, you might wonder how a pop-up like that happens when he didn't do anything. He didn't click a link. He didn't download some strange app. He was just checking his retirement account balance. And there it was. According to the FBI, there are 3 ways that people can commit this type of fraud. The first is what's called malvertising. And the scammer simply buys ad space, and embedded within the ad is malicious code that triggers the pop-up. This is the most common. And by the way, Barry didn't need to click on the ad. The pop-up just popped up. Now, the second is when there's a software that's downloaded, a tiny bit of software that's downloaded. And this happens weeks, maybe even months in the past, and the target doesn't even know that they have that software on their computer. When you visit a financial site, the pop-up pops up. The third way is what's called a spoof. When you do a search on Google and you click a link that pops up with the name of the institution, it may not take you to the institution. It'll take you to a site that looks similar, has the exact same facade, but a slightly different URL. Happens all of the time. Now, what makes this scam different and dangerous is that the target is the one initiating contact. It's not the other way around. When you get a phone call from somebody pretending to be from the IRS, well, you probably know that it's a scam phone call. But if you're just going online and you're typing in the name of the institution, well, you're the one that is initiating. The FBI also warns that these pop-ups are designed to freeze your browser. And when you go to exit out, you download additional software, and that's all they need for the rest of the scam. You see the trusted logo, you see a phone number that pops up from the institution you're trying to get to, and it says, urgently, please call us. We need to speak with you about your account. And that's all it took for Barry. He made the phone call, and he was connected with a gentleman by the name of Charles Hunt, who said he was from that financial institution. Charles said he was a fraud investigator with his 401k institution and that he had bad news. Someone was actively trying to break into Barry's account, and he needed his help to stop the criminal. And further, he needed Barry to speak with somebody else because they were also trying to break into other accounts of Barry's. The second man introduced himself as Hayden Smith, and he was supposedly from Barry's bank, and Hayden knew the name of Barry's bank. Hayden said that there were transactions that were trying to be posted for $10,000 for illegal criminal activity happening in China. Barry was understandably horrified, and Smith started firing questions at him. Have you ever been to China? Have you ever purchased anything from China? Do you have any connections to China whatsoever? These questions only served to heighten Barry's anxiety about what was going on. Then Smith said that they work with the federal government on cases like this, and they asked Barry if he'd be willing to help and speak to the federal government and assist them in the investigation, to which Barry said, of course. The third scammer, Finn Whitrock, came on the line, and he provided his badge number for added authority. Finn asked Barry if he'd be willing to put his funds in a federal locker until this was over because they wanted to protect his funds and his account had been compromised. The best part is that if Barry cooperated, he could help take down an entire criminal ring. And for weeks, Barry did exactly what they told him to do, step by step, to catch the bad guys. He went to the bank. He wired funds. They even had a digital map on his computer so he could watch what was going on in real time. He saw that some criminals had been apprehended in places outside of the United States. It felt very, very real to Barry. Within weeks, Barry had transferred $113,000 to the federal locker. They then went after the big fish, which was his IRA account and his brokerage account. Together, those accounts had $830,000. And here's the part that really needs to be focused in on here. Barry's financial advisor of over 20 years got suspicious because Barry's reasons didn't make a lot of sense, and he kept switching those reasons, so he refused to allow Barry to transfer the funds, as a good financial advisor would do if he thinks that a client is being scammed. But the criminals anticipated this. They told Barry that his own advisor, the man he had known for over 20 years, was actually on a criminal watch list, and he was the one who leaked Barry's information. And Barry believed it. And so Barry rolled his funds to a different firm, and that different firm was one that was within the federal locker, so to speak. The new firm had no relationship with Barry, and they allowed him to empty his account. He went to different branches so that he didn't take out enough to get noticed. He wired money to purchase gold. He physically handed gold to perfect strangers. The scam, by the way, did not end with Barry figuring it out on his own. It ended with a routine traffic stop in New Jersey, and the police officer found a receipt for gold in the car. And on that receipt was Barry's name and his telephone number. So they called him. The call led to 2 FBI agents showing up at his door. And Barry found out the truth. The scam had been not only deployed on him, but many others as well, and it was masterminded from a criminal ring in India. When it was over, Barry lost $740,000. And because he withdrew funds from his IRA, he had a tax bill for another $285,000. Eventually, his attorney fought back, and the IRS subsequently said that Barry didn't owe them $285,000, but the state was TBD as of the time we were doing the research for this video. His attorney also pursued the financial institutions, saying that a 76-year-old man draining his IRA of every last dollar should have caused a red flag. FINRA rules require that when someone opens an account, they need to provide a trusted contact for the financial institution to contact in case of something like this, and that account had no trusted contact. The money itself was gone. It was converted to gold or cryptocurrency and probably found its way overseas somewhere, never to be seen again. Now, let's address what many of you are thinking. I would never fall for that. And that is a logical reaction from smart people. But that is the exact reaction that makes this scam so powerful. The scam was not about ignorance. It exploited the main trigger that causes someone to suspect that they're being scammed. That trigger, the call or the contact, was inbound. In this case, Barry's contact was towards the institution. It was outbound. Barry trusted the institutions that he had trusted for decades. It wasn't Barry being reckless, it was Barry being responsible. And responsibility is what caused the scam to work. The scammers knew the name of the financial institution. They knew the account numbers. They knew the people at the institution. That level of specificity caused Barry to drop his guard. And when someone is presented with detail, the smarter they are, the more likely the detail becomes convincing. The scammer also weaponized diligence. Barry was trying to protect his money. The more he was involved in the process trying to protect his money, the more the scam worked. If he had just ignored everything, it would have gone away. Importantly, Barry was told that he was a hero. He was helping the government take down bad guys, and with his help, they could together take down a criminal ring operating internationally. It made him feel important. They also isolated Barry. They told him not to tell his children because that could compromise the investigation. And so, without anybody to talk to, except for them, Barry did exactly as he was instructed to do. And it built slowly, one logical step at a time. And by the time the numbers became large, he was committed, because admitting that this was happening would also be admitting that he was fooled. That, by the way, is what's called casino mentality. When you're down, you're told not to go to the ATM, but right behind that sign is a bank of 3 or 4 ATMs, and people walk right past the sign to take more money out. Why? Because they're sure that by putting more money into the problem, they'll fix the problem. So what do you do? First, know that no government authority is going to ask you to move your money to protect it. Not the IRS, not the FBI, not Social Security. It just doesn't happen. Second, even if you're the one checking your account balance, never call a phone number from a pop-up. If you want to make a call to the institution, pull out the information from the institution, your debit card, or some statement that you have. Third, make sure your brokerage account has a trusted contact in place. This is extremely important, and it can mean the difference between devastation and prevention when it comes to fraud. Fourth, turn on transfer alerts and outbound transfer locks. Most institutions offer them, but they're not turned on by default. Next, slow way down. Urgency is their weapon. Real financial institutions allow you to take all the time you need to make decisions. Scammers want you to make that decision ASAP before they get caught. Sixth, talk to somebody you trust. Real transactions can wait a day. Scams can't. Gang Barry's story is devastating, not just because it happened in the dollar amount, but because of how methodically it was executed. This was done by a pro, and the fact is the targets tend to be those in retirement or close to retirement simply because these are the people that have the most money. The best defense, by the way, is understanding how it works, because once you understand the playbook, you can't unsee it. My recommendation to you is to go back through this video again and try to envision each step and how it might relate to you. If you like this video, check out that video on the ACATS scam next. This is Jeff Schmidt, and I will see you in that video right there.